Hello, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about Pisces because it's Pisces season. The sun is in Pisces from February 19th until March 21st, 2021. So it is the month to celebrate and honor Pisces season, all about the fish. And before I get started, I just wanted to give a shout out to Ali for creating the Spiritual Social Network. I'm so happy to be a part of it. And it's definitely something I needed in my life. And I'm grateful to have a platform to share about astrology as well. So thank you. And I really hope more people join in and come in and other spiritually minded people. I think it's so exciting. So, anyway, let's get into Pisces season celebration. So first of all, I'm going to talk about Pisces, and then we'll get into the forecast of the month, and then we'll get into a little bit of an advanced astrology. For whoever's interested, we'll actually pull up our birth charts and look at which house the sun is in. So that'll be at the end. So if you want to join in, then you can, if you're able to. Okay. So first, the archetype of Pisces is the fish. So Pisces is a water sign, of course. It's also a mutable water sign. So I'll get into what both of those mean. But so water signs, so the water is very feminine and emotional, and people who have a lot of water often have like healer type energy. They're natural healers. They're feminine, movable, emotional. Okay, so the other two water signs are Cancer and Scorpio. Cancer is like the first water sign, and they're cardinal water. So cardinal meaning leader and initiator. I'll get into what those mean in a second. But like, so Cancer is more like they act on their emotions. They get an emotion. They're the most immature water sign, so they kind of like act out their emotions, and they're a little bit emotionally sensitive. And then we move into Scorpio. That's like they have almost like they're almost actually the most mature water sign in a way. Pisces is different. Scorpio is more like they they have mastery over their emotions. Like they have an emotion and that they know how to use it. That's why Scorpios are often like master manipulators, and they kind of control everything, and they're very psychic. You know, they pick up energy and emotions, and they know how to read people's emotions and then use it to their own advantage. So they're very, very emotionally intelligent. Probably the most emotionally intelligent sign of the zodiac. Okay, and then we have, and Scorpio is a fixed sign. So you can see that energy. They're fixed, they're grounded, they live at the bottom of the water, you know, so they stay very still, and they use their emotions in that way. Okay, that's making sense so far. Pisces is the third water sign, or the first water sign. Pisces, as we'll get into, people see it as the last sign of the zodiac, but the thing is, it's the first and the last sign of the zodiac. So I'll get into that too. Pisces is special, of course, as all the signs are. So Pisces being like the first and the last water sign, Pisces, they live like, it's a fish, right? It lives in water. It's you know, it lives in a whole different world than we do in a way. Pisces is surrounded by the world of emotions, and they almost literally become their emotions. They are the emotion. So it's a little bit different than how Cancer kind of reacts and they kind of become emotional, like they kind of act out a little bit. Scorpio uses their emotions, they're very emotionally intelligent. And then we have Pisces that's like, I am water. I am emotion. I am movable, changeable. In Pisces, there's such beautiful people. It's like, we'll get more into the traits of Pisces in a little bit, but it's almost like, I am sad, or I am this emotion, and they sort of become it in every way. And they're really beautiful people to be around, very magical. So that's the water element of Pisces. And I've heard it described before, like Pisces isn't water, it's actually ether, which is like the stuff that, it's kind of somewhere between air and water. It's kind of like the stuff that makes up, in chemistry, the stuff that makes up space, and, and everything in between. It's like the ether, it's out there in the atmosphere. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, I know what it means on an intuitive level. Like, so Pisces is more ethereal, right? More so than water as we experience it on our earthly plane. Pisces is very interesting that way. And then Pisces is mutable, as I mentioned. So that's like a changeable sign, very flowy. The other two qualities are cardinal and fixed, as I mentioned. So each of the elements of fire, water, earth, and air have 3 signs, and each of those 3 signs are either cardinal, fixed, or mutable. So cardinal is the beginner, the initiator, kind of acts out. It's like often the cardinal signs are more leadership positions, they're the ones who start things. And then the fixed signs are more like grounded, steady. They can be like fixed in their thinking too. They're not they don't change very easily. They stay very still. So as with anything in life, it can be good or bad, right? The Taurus is like the most fixed sign of the zodiac, and they're known for being stubborn, but it's also a gift and a strength in many ways as well. Mutable signs are the ones that flow and change often. They change things. They flow in when we're talking about Pisces, it's like they really flow with um, energy and emotion, and they might be have a lot of mood swings. Sometimes it's hard to really like keep up with what Pisces is thinking or experiencing, and it might be hard for them to understand it as well. So mutable signs obviously have a gift of being flexible, um, but sometimes they don't like stick things through or really have that like groundedness, or able to initiate like some other signs do. So that's like the mutable energy of Pisces. So we already know water is fluid, and then Pisces is also mutable. So it's like the ultimate movable, changeable water, and that's why it's ethereal. It's like it really flows. Okay, so the overall kind of archetype of Pisces. So I love looking at these zodiac signs like a story. It actually starts with Pisces and it also ends with Pisces. And then from Pisces comes Aries. And before Pisces, we have Aquarius. So when you look at the story or the archetype of Pisces, it's the beginning and the end. It's also where we go when we die and where we are before we're born as well. So the world of Pisces is like the womb space, and it's also like the whatever you imagined, wherever we go when we die, when our spirits leave this world and we go somewhere else. A lot of people even have um, very specific visions of the afterlife, and that's like the Pisces world, the spirit world. Also, when we go when we sleep in our dream world, that's like the Pisces world. And then we wake up and we start our day and we make a to-do list. What do we want to do today? That's the world of Aries, right? So Pisces, it's actually when you're learning the astrology zodiac, the way my teacher taught me is it starts with Pisces because Aries is birthed from Pisces. And I thought that was so true and so beautiful. So, um, So that's one cool way to look at Pisces that I don't think people often kind of realize or look at Pisces in that same way. So I thought that was really interesting. And then we'll get into what this season, like how we can utilize this energy in like this, for ourselves to really benefit from the fact that we're in Pisces season right now, what that means. Um, and just to complete that thought too, Aquarius is the one right before Pisces, and that's like the ultimate fulfillment of all the hard work and structure that was put in Capricorn. And then it moves into Aquarius. Aquarius is all about like being like carrying that achievement and that vision to everyone else and like establishing like a new world, like from all the structure and hard work that went in Capricorn. Then Aquarius is like, yeah, let's share this with everyone, let's bring more people into this group, let's let's really establish this like for everyone, make this world a better place, basically. Pisces is living in that world. Pisces is like, done, like I'm here, this is perfect, everything's wonderful, and you're just kind of living in that world that Capricorn, well, all the signs, but Capricorn and Aquarius sort of built and then created a whole community around and made it about the whole world. Pisces is there, right? And then it all ends there. That's like the very ultimate ending and fulfillment of this vision or this story that's gone through the whole zodiac. Pisces starts it all over again. If you're familiar with the tarot, it's like the Fool card. I see it the same way. Aries, Fool card, same thing. It's like Aries is starting out on their journey. They don't know what's in front of them. They have no idea. They're sort of like blissfully ignorant as to what taking the first step towards this journey is going to mean for them. But it's life. We have to do it. It's, yeah. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the traits of Pisces people, because this talk would not be complete without celebrating the Pisces in our lives, right? They are very beautiful people. Okay, let's talk about the traits of Pisces people. Okay, in general, right? Because when you look at your astrology charts, you have your rising sign, you have your moon sign, you have your planets in all different positions in your chart. So not every Pisces person is going to be the same. Okay, but in general, Pisces people are very sweet. They have this kind of tender heart. They're beautiful, they're loving, they're just sweet people. They're very loving people. And this can be a positive or a negative to the Pisces person. They are almost like the most hopelessly romantic sign of the zodiac, because like I said, the archetype of Pisces is being like living in that perfect world where everything has been done and accomplished and now you're here. Or you could see it as the place where you go where we're dead and where we are before we're born, right? Where there's no ego, it's just spirit. So Pisces kind of lives in this place. So because of that, it's like they are loving, like they don't have very solid boundaries. Okay, so we'll get into like all the different sides of Pisces throughout this talk, but they are loving. Sometimes they can be overgiving. Sometimes they can get too involved, too much, too fast, right? And that's the beautiful thing of Pisces, but they need to be responsible for that. Like the Pisces who's fully self-aware is going to be the most beautiful lover, right? Okay, they're very sensitive, right? Because they become their emotions, and they're usually pretty empathic people. They don't live in a world where there's really solid lines. So when other people are having emotions, they will pick up on those emotions too. Again, every Pisces person is going to be a little bit different based on what their moon sign is and all the other aspects of their chart, but they're sensitive generally, which again is a gift, and it can be a challenge for them as well. They're very ethereal. The Pisces people I know in my life, it's like you can almost see the mutability. Like they change, from from one day to another, one mood to another. They're sort of beautiful to watch and look at because they're like, wow, you never know what to expect in a way. And it's almost like you can tell that they live in two different worlds. Like they're living in this other spiritual world. I find it so beautiful. So they're very ethereal people. You can kind of tell they're like spiritual or connected to spirit. They're just beautiful. Spiritual, they're very spiritual. Even if they're not fully aware of it, Pisces are tuned in to the spirit world and the cosmos, and often they are artists. Like in their highest expression of Pisces, they are channeling this information from spirit. They're connected to spirit. They have to learn to be grounded and take care of themselves so they don't get so lost and carried away. But they use like they're channeling energy from spirit and they're creating art with it. They don't have to try to like learn the skill per se or know exactly what they're painting. You know, and often they don't have very big egos. Like they just they're like the artist of the zodiac. They tune in, they channel, they create, and they can't really help themselves or stop themselves. So they're very artistic, creative people, and very spiritual people. So if they are aware of their spirituality and interested in spirituality, they probably have a pretty easy time like meditating and tapping in, and sort of like leaving their bodies. It can be a little bit of a detriment, right? Just like I was saying about falling in love too quickly or too easily as well, because they love love. Same with spirituality, being like in another realm where everything is perfect and blissful. Pisces, more than any other sign, has to make sure, for example, do yoga before you meditate or exercise before you tap into the spirit world. They have to get in their bodies first and foremost. It's so important for Pisces. Okay, they're very mysterious, okay, because they're ruled by the planet Neptune, which Neptune rules our like the collective unconscious and the subconscious part of us. So that literally, and also the oceans of the world, they're so deep and so mysterious, right? Even our scientists don't know that much about the deep oceans, right? So Neptune pretty much literally represents the mysterious world, unreality, like anything that we don't fully understand. So Pisces people are ruled by Neptune. So they're very mysterious even to themselves. They're very magical. I already touched on that when I said ethereal. They're kind of magical. I'm mystified by Pisces. I think they're just often Pisces I meet. They're just so beautiful. They're changeable. They're uh, it's probably not easy all the time being a Pisces because they fool themselves. They're mysterious to themselves too. So it's important to learn, become aware of the traits of Pisces for the people who are Pisces. Okay, they're very sensual, though they're not grounded per se. Like Taurus is very sensual, like in a material way, but Pisces more in their movability and changeability and emotionally. So, and they're just very, very loving. So, I already said they're emotional. Um, but I'll touch on that they can be emotional in the sense of being like moody as well. But the thing is with Pisces is they have to go through their emotions. That's important. That's a part of how Pisces works. It's the lesson of Pisces. They sort of become their emotions and they have to move through it really. That's how emotions work for all of us. Like we have to like feel it fully and let it flow through, let it, be processed. But with Pisces especially, like yeah, you have to just give them space and grace and just understand that that's part of what makes them so beautiful and so unique, is like they're walking works of art, and they literally like become their emotions, and that's like really, really important. And sometimes we may not understand where Pisces is coming from. Sometimes they'll, because they're so in this world, they're in this other kind of world. Sometimes they don't make a lot of sense when they're kind of explaining what's going on for them, or even to them as well. They might not fully understand. So, it takes a lot of like, yeah, space and grace to live with a Pisces or date a Pisces. Is, you know, it's good to have that awareness of their emotions. They're boundless. That's the next word that I love. It's like boundless love, because when you look at, like I said before, about the hard work of Cancer, moving into the fulfillment of Aquarius, into Pisces, like living in this world. It's like a perfect, beautiful world where everyone is connected, everyone's in love, everyone's in peace. It's it's boundless. It's like there are no boundaries. So as you can see, if you know anything about boundaries, this can be hazardous as well. But it's okay. So the positive side of boundless, um, Pisces represents infinite creative potential, and it also represents meditation, being in the spirit world and the dream world, where there's infinite information and infinite connection and love, and it's so beautiful. And we all have access to this, and we all have Pisces and Neptune somewhere in our birth charts. So um and then, yeah, so it's so beautiful. So we can all tap into our infinite potential through Pisces. And then boundless can also be not having any boundaries in relationships and just diving all in too quickly. It also can represent, Pisces is really well known as the sign for being addicted. They get involved with drugs and fantasy, and drinking, and anything that brings them into this state of connection and bliss and love. Sometimes it's not always healthy, and they're not always honest with themselves about what's really going on, because they kind of live in this fantasy world, and it's like the goal of Pisces to get to that place. So the goal is to be an artist, like channel this energy into your real life and be responsible for taking care of your body, getting grounded. They need to, more than any other sign, though all humans should do this and get grounded, right? Because the earth has an electromagnetic frequency that we can tune into, and it's really healthy for us to tune into it. So walking around bare feet, getting on the earth, or sitting by the ocean and breathing in that like ocean air. There's different ways to get grounded, but Pisces especially, and they're kind of known too for, they rule the feet, and they often can have trouble with their feet, like bunions or what have you, anything to do with the feet. So of course that makes perfect sense, because the feet is what grounds us to the earth, and so Pisces is going to have the most issues with their feet. It just makes perfect sense. So Pisces should get outside, walk around barefoot, make sure to prioritize um, exercise every single day, and eating like good nutritious foods. They probably are, out of any sign in the zodiac, they're going to get away with like not eating very much or eating very little, and then just like escaping reality, because it's so much easier for them to deal with, because they're so sensitive and they naturally just want to be in this place of total love and connection. So Okay, that's a little bit about the boundlessness of Pisces and how amazing, but also how detrimental it can be to the Pisces. Okay, so as I spoke about Neptune before, Neptune represents which the planet Neptune rules Pisces, right? So it represents like the subconsciousness and unconscious reality, and it's very mysterious and very vast, and so it can represent confusion. So sometimes Pisces doesn't know how to describe their experience. They don't even know what they're doing sometimes, like just in anything. Like, I'm not going to get too far into it because you can kind of see how it could apply for Pisces, but a state of confusion. And then for people around them too, not really knowing how to approach the issue or how to talk to them or what's going on. Or sometimes they can be very like ignorantly blissful, like Pisces will just kind of believe what they want to believe. Um, so it can lead to a state of confusion. And again, it's important to just really like tap into the gifts of Pisces and be really responsible and aware of the downside of Pisces. Okay. And then, of course, I touched on this too, but because Pisces represents like the being in a state of like total bliss and oneness and connection to the divine, right? Before we separate and we come into the world of Aries, where we just want to separate and we want to create and we want to have things and do things and we desire things that are all like separate. It's all about like me, what do I desire? What do I want to create? The world that comes from the world of Pisces, because Pisces is so connected, right? So um yeah, so they're lovers. I already mentioned this, but I just wanted to touch on it again, because they always want to reach this state of oneness and bliss and connection within themselves. And that's also why sometimes they can fall into the world of addictions, drugs, fantasy, video games. Like this kind of stuff can be really appealing to the Pisces, who just wants to, like all the time, they just want to reconnect and get back to that state of oneness. This separation is so painful for them. Being in this earthly world can be so unbearable for the Pisces. So that's just the way it is. But when we become aware and responsible for our zodiac signs, then we can really tap into the gifts. So they are amazing lovers, but they have to be very careful about how quickly or who they're getting involved with, and be more grounded in their decision making. Okay. So I love you, Pisces. You're amazing. Okay, now we're gonna get into like in general the themes of Pisces and Pisces season for all of us, and how from February 19th until March 21st, we can really utilize this energy of Pisces season. So the sun being in Pisces right now kind of highlights these Pisces themes. So it's the ending and the beginning. So I'll get into the new year in a minute, talking about the astrological new year. So yes, it's February and we're still talking about the new year. So I find this very interesting. I had a bit of an epiphany when I was creating this talk that I'm really excited to share with you guys. But the themes of Pisces, the ending and the beginning. Okay, so this month is all about the ending and the beginning. So you can think for yourself, what in your life is coming to an end and what in your life is beginning, and what, like, feel into this like Pisces does, right? What does this feel like right now? Like, because right now we're in this in between place. We're not at the end, we're not at the beginning quite yet. We're in this kind of just gestation period. What, and really feel into it. Okay, so themes of Pisces: the spiritual world, tapping into the spirit world right now is very potent. It's a good time to do a lot of meditation, anything, whatever your spiritual tools are that you like to do. Now is a great time for like divination, um, really tapping into the spirit world, doing more meditation, really just like utilizing this time of Pisces to do that because it represents, as I said, infinite creative potential. So it's infinite, truly infinite, right? Just like the world of Pisces is, Neptune. Okay. The dream world. So pay attention to your dreams, literally. They might be a little bit more active right now. We're spending more time in our dream world right now. And if you don't remember your dreams, that's fine. This is also about um, your dreams. So allow yourself, remember, infinite creative potential. Allow yourself to sit down with your notebook and pen sometime this month and just allow yourself to dream and write it all down and just do like a free write and allow yourself to just go as far as you can possibly go. What would be the most epic like dream that you can't even imagine bringing to this reality, that you can't even imagine to be possible? Like it's so out there. It's something that you want but you don't even allow yourself to think about, right? Allow yourself to really 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 go there. Tap into the infinite creative potential of Pisces and connect with spirit and just allow it to all come in. Create this beautiful, blissful fantasy world that you can only get in Pisces, right? Boundless love. So now is a great time to express your love to people around you. Be loving towards yourself, like all nurture yourself, all of the things that, yeah, however you want to express your love. Do it now. It's a perfect time. Pisces is all about unconditional love. Like open up, let people in, love them. If you are a Pisces, you might need to be like, proceed with caution. Everyone needs to be like aware of how Pisces affects them. If you look at your personal birth chart, you can see like what planets you have in Pisces or where Neptune is in your chart. And if you're on the side of like being an extreme Pisces already, now would be a good time to almost do the opposite and exercise caution and get back into your body and really ground and really like still tap into the infinite potential of Pisces, of course, but proceed with caution, right? So I hope that makes sense. Let me know, of course, once this video is up and posted. Ask me any questions and I'll hop on and try to answer them. Okay. And then we got bliss, right? Okay, what brings you into a place of absolute bliss and connection and joy? Just do that this month. That's great. Okay. The themes of Pisces also include, as I mentioned, fantasy, drugs, escapism, and losing touch with reality and addictions. So we can like kind of grasp onto our addictions and sort of escape this world a little bit, right? So you got to be careful of that. Be very self-aware this month. It's probably a good time to do a lot of like record your dreams, do a lot of writing and dreaming, but also like making structured time for that. But then also being really aware of, yeah, like don't let it carry you too far away. The forecast this month includes two other major planets moving into Pisces as well, a little bit later in the season. So once two more personal planets move in Pisces, then we'll have a lot more reason to be extra careful about all this stuff. Right now, there's still a lot of Aquarius energy happening, and there's also quite a bit of Taurus energy happening too. So we're still pretty grounded, but the sun is still highlighting these themes of Pisces. So yeah. And then, okay, another theme of Pisces, of course, is connection to spirit, receptivity, and intuition. So pay attention to your intuition, your intuitive, and that's why like dreaming and also writing and doing like a free write is a good way to access these gifts and this energy of your intuition and what energy you're receiving right now, because Neptune rules the unconscious world and the subconscious world, so it might not be very clear. So that's why when you're sleeping and you're dreaming, then you can write that down, because it's like, whoa, it might come to you in sort of a in a way that's sort of puzzling, or that doesn't make perfect sense, um, because it's a message that's coming from this world of Pisces, the subconscious. It's not conscious. So I hope that part makes sense too. Okay. Because just an idea for how to access that intuition, because if you try to do it really consciously, that's more of a Aries, like what are my instincts, what's my intuitive impulses, where Pisces is really about like connecting to the subconscious world, getting information from there, and then sort of processing it slowly. It might not be very obvious. Okay, so themes of Pisces, it represents the mysteries of the universe. So we might notice more mysterious things coming up in the collective at this time as well. The subconscious, and the unknown. Okay, so I've already touched on these things. It may be a confusing, non-linear time, so be aware of that as well. It's a perfect time to dream. It's a perfect time to let go and connect to the spirit world and your infinite creative potential, create art and channel, and embrace boundless love and blissful connections with other people and yourself, and take care of yourself at the same time. Be aware that it can be maybe a confusing and non-linear time. Some things might not make sense. You could kind of get a little bit lost or carried away. So be aware of that. Infinite creative potential, that's my last point, but I've already touched on that like so many times. I love that way of describing Pisces. It's infinite. Okay, so remember, that can be detrimental, and it's also very beautiful. We all want to tap into our infinite creative potential, so now's a good time. Okay, next thing, I have the new year. Okay, so I love the fact that we're in Pisces season, and then we have the spring equinox and Aries season coming up, because this represents actually the astrological new year. So we had on December 21st, we had the winter solstice. A lot of people celebrate that as the return of the light. That's one, and it comes right before Christmas and January 1st, New Year. So it's sort of like, in my sphere anyway, it's kind of like represents the new year more so than January 1st does. I sort of look at December 21st as like the ultimate, it's like the first rebirth of the light, right? So anyway, so that for a lot of people represents the new year, right? And then we have January 1st, the calendar month, the starting of a new number, a new year. So that's also a very auspicious day to to create your new year, what you want to create for the next year to come. And then we have the Chinese New Year. That's a very popular, widely celebrated New Year as well. That's in February. There's probably more that I know nothing about, which is fine. You can throw it down in the comments. There's probably many different culture celebrations of the new year and when it is for them. Okay, so that's like in February, the new moon in February is the Chinese New Year. And then we have in astrology, we have Aries season, March, the end of March, or the coming of spring that represents the new cycle. So I kind of love that when I realized this. It's like we have a whole quarter of a year that's dedicated to like allowing things to really die away and be reborn. We have this whole time um, to really process this. So it's kind of interesting, but Pisces season, because it's the ending and the beginning, it's a really great time too, as I said. Dream, like really, and that's why I was saying like write down your dream, do a free write, access that infinite creative potential, really just channel like your wildest dreams. Go wild, go crazy, go to the very end of what you can possibly imagine to be your very best life. And now it's a great time to do that. Dream big, go all out, go crazy with it, and just, you know, at least spend like one day this month where you allow yourself this, like take some time to like get into the world of Pisces, because we have Aries coming, right? So after Pisces season is over on March 21st, it starts with Aries season, and Aries is things start moving forward, right? The energy is in like initiating, it's starting, it's going. Aries is fast. Aries is all about like creating, you know, your people are getting their gardens ready, planting everything, and then it's going to be sprouting later in the year, right? But we have this energy to just go, right? Aries is ruled by Mars. So we have such a great opportunity right now before Aries season begins. So tune in to the potential of this time to really dream big, and also I don't want this to sound dark, you know, to some people, but really it's like allowing yourself to die in order to be reborn, right? And I obviously mean that on like a energetic and yeah, like an energetic level, like an ego death, right? Like you want to really like let go, allow yourself, you know, if like it's a good month to look at where your attachments are, your addictions, of course, as I mentioned, and really look at them and let them go if you can, okay? Because then Aries season comes and then it's all about like going and creating and doing and getting out there. So we have this amazing opportunity. So it's the new year, okay? News flash. You thought it was January 1st, but it's actually now. So, okay. Okay. Making sure I didn't miss anything. And also, like, Aries season is, like I said, it's ruled by Mars. So it's all about, like, you know, going, getting, creating. And, but especially 2021 is going to move very fast. You know, and all the planets are moving direct this year. I think it's not until later, way later in the year, over halfway through the year, I'm pretty sure, that planets start going retrograde. So some planets go retrograde every year for half the year. That's normal. That's like the bigger planets. But last year in 2020, we had even the smaller planets, which are more personal. So like we had like 7 planets moving retrograde at one time. So 2020 was really it's almost, I see it like a slingshot energy. Like 2020 was like pulling the slingshot back and building all this energy. 2021 is like letting go of this. So we still have this opportunity right now before we let go of the slingshot and all of the energy we've built up and the tension that has been created. We have this final opportunity in Pisces season to really like focus and clarify, get in touch with spirit, you know, allow yourself to die to be reborn. Like this is an opportunity, right? Dream, you know, love and be in this place, because when Aries season comes, you're going to be letting go of the slingshot. So, and there's a lot of energy built up. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, have a good cry. I didn't talk about that. If you feel like crying, you know, yeah, Pisces season is a great time to let those tears come out, like process your emotions. Like not only sit down and channel your dreams, but sit down and write and like let your emotions like be processed and like let them go through you and come out. If you're, yeah, now it's like such a great. We all should be doing taking care of our emotional health like all the time because we're, that's a big part of being human. But during Pisces season, if you are crying more, if you feel like crying, if you just want to like self-care, take baths all the time and just cry and whatever, like, watch romantic sappy movies, or you know don't judge yourself, just do it. It's good for you, especially right now. So um oh yeah, get creative, of course. Get out all your art supplies and go crazy. That's another good thing to do during Pisces season. And okay, so I've been talking about this a little bit throughout the talk, but um, that I just kind of touched on like what to do during Pisces season, but I also want to touch on what to be wary of for this month. So addictions, be wary of your addictions. Be aware of attempting to escape your emotions, right? Because sometimes emotions can be very overwhelming. So be aware of your emotions and don't escape them. Allow them, okay? Be aware of where you are grabbing onto something for fear of losing yourself. Um, for example, in meditation, like, we're sitting down to meditate and we get a thought and then we chase that thought and we start thinking about our to-do list and we start thinking, oh, I shouldn't be here. I should be getting stuff done. So it takes a certain amount of letting go to just simply meditate. And sometimes it's scary for the ego. Like you actually have to let go of who you think you are in order to access this connection to source and this real like meditative place. So the meditation is just an example of kind of like be aware of where you are grabbing onto something. It could be your identity, your thoughts. It could be an addiction. It could be people. It could be a person. It could be love. It could be food. It could be whatever it is for you. Be aware of where you are, yeah, like afraid of losing yourself, right? Because now is actually a really great time to be letting go and like surrendering your ego and allowing spiritual energy to come in. Okay. And then on the same lines, be aware of losing yourself in something or someone else, getting overly involved, losing boundaries. So be aware of that. Okay. Be aware of too much meditation, not enough movement. It's always a good time to take care of our bodies and get exercise. But if you have a lot of Pisces in your chart, or if you have these tendencies that I'm talking about, make sure to be aware of that this month. All right. I hope this makes sense so far. Please, if you have any questions, ask them. I'd love to answer them. Now I'm going to get into the forecast for the Pisces season for this month. So, of course, we have the sun in Pisces until March 21st. I've been talking about that the whole time. We have the full moon coming up in the sign of Virgo. It's at midnight on Saturday, the 27th of February. So that means you can do your moon ceremonies like, oh geez, I should look this up. So if midnight on Saturday the 27th, so you could do your rituals on a Friday night because that's going to be closest to when the moon is full. But I'll have to check if it's midnight on Sunday and if it's fuller on Saturday. But I'm pretty sure it's midnight on Saturday the 27th. So that means that it's closest to Friday night. Friday the 26th is when you're going to do your full moon rituals, because then it's full just a few hours later. Or you can do your moon rituals at the exact time of the full moon, which is pretty cool too. So full moon is always a good time. Like, just be aware that like whenever the moon is full, you have energy is amplified. Every energy is amplified. So no matter what your spiritual path is, or what your spiritual practices are, or whatever your focus is in your life, even if it's not spiritual, you want to do everything on a full moon with extra intention. So if you're spending that day cleaning your home, do it with so much more intention and presence and focus and reverence, bring sacredness to it, because the full moon is magical and it amplifies energy. If you're working that day, be very extra aware of like how you're speaking to people, how you are working. Be aware of the energy of what's going on around you. If you're doing a spiritual practice, if you're doing a full moon ritual or your daily spiritual practice, whatever that is, again, like, light some extra candles, light some extra incense. Make sure you're doing it with the utmost intention. It's just such a powerful time every single month. Okay, so that's my take on the full moon. A lot of people have some really great like full moon, new moon rituals. I apply it a little bit more generally. But every month, what I do for the new moon, I always write down my intentions. And then for the full moon, I look back at them and I also see like what's coming up since then, what needs to be released. So it's a really great time, the full moon, to do rituals around releasing or letting go. You could do like a fire ceremony where you like burn things, or in this case, because it's like the water, if you live by the ocean, you could like write down the things that you want to let go of or release and tear them up and throw them into the ocean in a clean way, so that you're not littering, what have you. Yeah, the full moon is a good time to release because it's illuminating, and so whatever's coming up in your life is being illuminated right now to be cleared. So, and then in this full moon in particular is in the sign of Virgo. So this full moon highlights where we may be a little too obsessive, hard on ourselves, and need to practice letting go. So Virgo is the opposite of Pisces, and that's why the full moon is in Virgo this month. So you might notice things like that, though everyone is going to be a little bit different depending on where your moon sign is in and how this current moon and sun are aspecting your planets in your personal chart. It might be a little bit different for you, but this is just one idea where you could focus on this month for the full moon. Where are you a little bit too obsessive, a little bit too hard on yourself? And where could you practice letting go? Okay. And then we have the new moon in Pisces at 2 a.m. on Saturday, March 13th. So again, because it's at 2 a.m., you could do your new moon rituals. I find it the most effective to do new moon rituals actually a few days leading up to the new moon as well. So then when the new moon hits and when it's at its darkest, you're like fully there and you've cleared the space and you're ready for things to sort of sprout up for the next month. So I start my new moon manifestation list a few days before usually, and then on the new moon I really like get into it and really read it with intention and write it all out in a nice way, or whatever it is. I don't do like the same thing every time, but So in this case, it would be Friday night as well. Friday, March 12th is when you would be doing your new moon ritual, because then most likely you'll be sleeping at 2 a.m. on Saturday, or you can, make sure to stay up until 2 a.m. and plant your seeds of intention right into the darkest part of the moon at 2 a.m. on Saturday, March 13th. So this new moon in Pisces is a good time to really dream, right? As I was talking about before, let yourself be totally carried away by your wildest dreams, write them all down, then tear it up and throw it into the sea and let it wash away. That's what I wrote. It's funny because I said the same thing for the full moon too, but why not, embrace the world of Pisces and the infinite creative potential of Neptune and Pisces and the ocean, right? So that's just one idea. But new moons in general are a really good time to be, like I said with the full moon, be extra aware of your intention. Same with the new moon, but the new moon especially is a good time to clean your space. It really plant the seeds of what you want to create. So that takes clearing in order to do that, um, because you don't want to carry negative energy or things like unresolved energy into your intentions for the next month. So it's a good time to clear and clean up first, maybe like a few days leading up. Make sure you're kind of wrapping up that moon cycle, looking at the month that just passed in the past new moon, what you created, what happened, what came up at the full moon, what was released, and then make sure you're like really like, yeah, wrapping everything up. You're complete with the month. If you're not, then set your intention again for the new cycle. Okay. So in general, new and full moons. And then we have, so I've been talking a lot about this Mercury retrograde cycle that just passed. Yay, Mercury went direct on February 20th of this year. But so Mercury is still in the sign of Aquarius, so it moved backwards for 3 weeks, and then now it's moving back forwards again in the sign of Aquarius. But I just want to throw one little tidbit in here about Mercury retrograde, that it goes direct on one day, and then it goes retrograde on one day, and then 3 weeks later it goes direct. But there's about 2 weeks before that it goes retrograde where it starts to slow down before it actually appears to be moving backward, right? So the planet has to sort of slow down, and then it stops, and then it starts moving the other way, or so it appears to our eyes from planet Earth looking up at the sky. It's not actually moving backwards in its orbit, because that's impossible, but it's an optical illusion. So there is about a 2-week period before it actually goes retrograde where it starts slowing down. So it's like that's actually when the retrograde cycle begins, and then it goes, and it's moving backwards for 3 weeks, and then it stations direct, starts moving forward, and we all feel it if we tune into it, because Mercury rules our mind. So it's a very intimate part of our experience, right? However, the retrograde cycle actually continues for 2 weeks until Mercury picks up its regular speed, moving regularly in its orbit. So it's another 2 weeks. Like, it's moving direct now, but it's still moving really slowly until March 6th. So we can sort of watch that date too and see if anything changes in our current like thoughts, like whatever it is we're like really thinking a lot about during this Mercury retrograde, like whatever came up for us. For yourself, for your toolkit, right, for the next Mercury retrograde, do you notice that there's a little bit of a 2-week, like, before things really get resolved or before things really change, right? And then we have Mercury actually moves into Pisces on March 16th until April 5th. So this is going to really highlight Pisces energy even more. So that's not until March 16th. So that's like near to the end of the sun is only going to be in Pisces for another week after that. But for that week, we're going to have Mercury, our minds, our thinking, and the sun in Pisces all at the same time. So our thoughts and communication style may be more sensitive, emotional, and confused during this time when Mercury is in Pisces from March 16th until April 5th. For some people, it might be really great because everyone has a different Mercury sign and everyone's a little bit different. So um, it's still in Aquarius until March 16th. So this represents like new innovative ideas and thinking. So this is a very exciting time in the world of Mercury and actually all of these planets that are in Aquarius right now. But anyway, so that's going to be happening during this Mercury season. We also have Venus moving into Pisces on February 26th. So that's just 3 days from the time that I'm filming this. Um, uh, Venus in Pisces, so February 26th until March 22nd. For the majority of the time that the sun is in Pisces as well, we have a double whammy because Venus is a personal planet as well. It represents our relationships and the things that we value. So also like our money and things that we value, including relationships, the things that we take pleasure in as well. So because these things become more Piscean, it's also a good time to be aware of where we're like losing ourselves in love or in the things that we value as well. So being extra careful of where we're like getting kind of lost and swept away and carried away in our pleasures, the things that bring us joy and love, our relationships, money. And then we have uh, another kind of forecast for this month is Mars is moving into Gemini. So Mars, it changes signs every just a little over, well, about a month and a half. It changes signs, and Mars represents our masculine energy. So it's that drive to achieve and create and accomplish things. It gives us a boost of energy. So wherever Mars is in collectively, it represents our energy, how we're expressing our energy. So it has been in Taurus for the last little while. It was in Aries for 6 months because it had a retrograde period that made it last a lot longer. So this was at the end of 2020. So we had like all this energy to be like going and creating and starting things. And then it went into Taurus and we're kind of like, like I'm okay. Like not lazy, but just like more careful with how we're spending our energy. Um, and yeah, kind of like stopping that Aries process a little bit and just stopping and just being and enjoying and taking things in and not really like go, go, go quite as much. And then we have Mars moving into Gemini, which is a lot more like, how do I describe this? Like they like to be in all different places at different times. They like to take in information um, and learn. So our energy might be applied to learning and gathering information and details. And so it's like where Aries was like starting, and then Taurus is kind of like stopping, but taking stock a little bit and like, I'm just gonna like feel this out right now. And then Gemini is like preparing, gathering information, gathering your people. This is where our energy will be applied. So our social groups, our people, our conversations, and learning, expanding our knowledge, getting curious, getting down into the details. It can be a little bit like, it can be a little bit draining. Like, um, Gemini can be so kind of all over the place and a little bit like superficial, so many different places at once, and they're interested in so many different things. So be aware of your energy. Are you spreading yourself too thin? And this is on March 5th. Mars moves into Gemini. And that's also when I mentioned the Mercury retrograde cycle would be completely over as well. So I don't know if they really relate or not, but and then so March 5th, Mars moves into Gemini. We get more active in our community. We seek to learn and gather information. Careful of spreading yourself too thin. And then, okay, so I'm pretty much done talking about Pisces season. I think I covered it pretty thoroughly. I just wanted to do one more thing just for fun. So this is more advanced. So if you want to pull up your astrology chart, we'll look at where the sun, which house the sun is in for you right now, and what that means for you more personally during this month. So if you want to head over to astro.com, this is the program I use for getting a free birth chart. It's very comprehensive. And you can, of course, pause this video and go pull up your own personal birth chart. And then you can actually see where Pisces is in your chart and what house Pisces is in. And so it's a little bit advanced for if someone hasn't done this before. You could skip this part and just yay, celebrate Pisces season. We're done talking about Pisces. But if you're interested to know how this month might affect you a little bit more personally, then continue watching. So once you go to astro.com, you click on horoscopes, click on extended chart reading or extended chart selection, type in your birthday information, pull up your birth chart, and then you can find where Pisces is, and then see what house it's in. There's a little house number in the middle, right? It's the one starts at the horizon on the left side of your chart, and then it goes around to 12. So wherever Pisces is, whatever number that correlates with, that's the house that Pisces is in for you. You could take it one step further and click on current transits or show current transits, and then you can see where the sun is around the outside of your wheel of your chart. Then, because sometimes the houses don't line up exactly with the signs, sometimes it's a little bit off. So if you have like half Pisces and half Aquarius in one house, then you're going to have the sun moving through two houses this month. Okay, so you can pause this video, you can go find your own birth chart and see where the sun, which house the sun is in your chart. And I'm going to go through what that means. So, okay, if the sun, okay, so it's highlighting this area of your life when it's in a certain house. And then we have Venus moving through as well. So you'll get a boost in this area. I'll go into each of the houses, and an extra focus on this area and a boost of abundance and pleasure from Venus too. So we have extra focus, extra energy applied to this area, but also abundance and pleasure from Venus. So if you have the sun and Venus moving through your first house, this month is going to be all about focusing on you, taking action on your desires that will further your personal growth. So if you're feeling a little bit selfish, it's perfect. You got to focus on you right now, your wants, your desires, okay? If it's in the second house right now, the Sun and Venus, there's going to be more of a focus on perhaps your money, your possessions, your values, and your sense of security. So that's great. You might get a little boost in those things. If it's in the third house right now, there's going to be a little bit more of a focus on your friends, peers, coworkers, siblings, being a little bit more of a social butterfly, social interactions. Also, your mind, intellect, and learning, your close community, but also like the close community of your mind and the things that you are currently learning or thinking about. If you have the Sun and Venus moving through your fourth house, this represents your home. Literally your home, but also the home within yourself, your inner child, your inner parent, and your inner nurturer. It's going to highlight how you take care of yourself and ignite your own feeling of love and self love and your joy as well. So you might get a little boost in your home, but also like your self-care practice as well. If you have the Sun moving through your fifth house, then um, this represents your creativity, your passion, your family and home life, and wherever it is that you express yourself creatively and wherever you express your joy and your passion. So this area is going to be highlighted for you. If you have the Sun moving through your sixth house, then that represents your work and the daily details of your life, your daily routine and how you work, and your service and contribution in your world. So you might be thinking about how you can be of service to your, to the greatest benefit. Okay. And then if you have the Sun and Venus moving through your relationships, your seventh house, I mean to say, which represents relationships, partnership, and co creation. Your communication with other people and your cooperation and understanding others is going to be highlighted and given a boost of abundance and energy this month as well. And just your relationships in general. You might just be kind of focused on like your relationships outside of you with other people. If you have, this one's interesting. The eighth house is so interesting. If you have your Sun and Venus moving through your eighth house represents joint shared resources. It's where you lose yourself, loss of ego, death. So the eighth house can literally represent death. So there could be a highlight on that this month. It represents sex, sexuality, taxes, marriage, business contracts. Okay. The eighth house is kind of like also it's like the things that we don't want to see or that we don't really want to talk about. They're kind of like we stuff them in the closet and close the door. So now, in a way, now's a really good time to process those things, bring them out of the closet, allow yourself to have a little bit of an ego death, right? That's eighth house. Because then when things move into the house, you'll be born anew. You'll be like the phoenix that rises from the ashes, right? So that's kind of the ultimate achievement of the eighth house. Okay. If you have the Sun and Venus moving through your ninth house, that is all about higher learning and education, expanding your knowledge and experience, seeking to grow and adventure. Learn about other cultures, learn new things, go on an adventure, and grow and expand. And if you have the Sun and Venus moving through your 10th house, that's a focus on your career, your public image, your reputation, also your more important, serious duties. It's all about like creating structure and your reputation, how other people see you, perhaps your career. Okay. If you have the Sun, oh, and remember, this is giving a boost to these areas, a boost of abundance and pleasure and love, but also a focus and a highlight on those areas for you. If you have the Sun and Venus moving through the 11th house, that's highlighting your social groups that you're a part of. It could be a focus on nonprofit, contributing to your community, or a focus on your current friend groups that you're a part of. So, yay, you'll get a lot of abundance this month from spending time with your social groups. Nonprofits, contributing to your community, or even just your friend group. Okay, and the last one is the 12th house. If you have the Sun and Venus moving through the 12th house, that means that your 12th house is in the sign of Pisces as well. So that's all about highlighting this month the spiritual world, the dream world, tapping into meditation, God consciousness, creativity, and art, highlighting your connection to the divine and your dreams. So thank you so very much for watching this, and I hope that you got something personal for yourself from looking at your own astrology chart. And I hope that this was helpful and giving all this practical information about how to use Pisces season. Please let me know in the comments. I'll try to check Ali's YouTube as well as my own, and I'll post this on Instagram as well. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. And have a great Pisces season. Take care.